Guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, I'm joined by, of course, my buddy Tyson. Let's Talk Jets Radio. What's going on, bro?
Long time no talk, man. You've been busy cranking out content all summer.
Bro, the season is here, and for everybody listening, hopefully this is going to be a weekly thing.
Yep.
Literally from now until I want to
Super Bowl.
say, yeah, Super Bowl. But I mean, hey, even past that, we got free agency, we got the draft, all these different things going on. So, dude, I'm looking forward to it, man.
No, man. You know what's really cool is I enjoy talking football with you, man. We just go back and forth. We have different insight, different perspectives. So I'm looking forward to this, man. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, no doubt, no doubt. And it's crazy too, because it's like a part of me is just like, man, we're still like weeks away from, the Bills game. But then on the other hand, it's just like, dude, this offseason, it's finally over. It's like, it's going to quickly approach. Like, we're going to wake up that Monday morning and be like, damn, like the season's already here. You know what I mean?
It's 3 weeks, man. 3 weeks until Jets Bills. It's just wild, man. It's like you just get like no injuries. Like every day I wake up, I'm on Twitter. I'm like, please no injuries, please no injuries. Just stay healthy. Like day by day, just get to September 11th.
Dude, for sure, for sure. So before the regular season game against the Bills, we obviously have the third and final preseason game against the Giants here. And the big news is that Aaron Rodgers is going to be starting. What's kind of your initial reaction to that? Some fans are like definitely pumped up, like, first time really Jets debut, rocking the green and white. And then others are like, please, for the love of God, do not get hurt. Do not risk it. The fear kind of outweighs any sort of positive that we can see.
Yeah, that's like the risk reward question, right? And I'm an older Jet fan, dude. So I've seen Mark Sanchez get hurt in the preseason. I've seen Pennington get hurt. And it's like, you understand why Aaron Rodgers wants to play. He hasn't played yet, man. It's a whole new team, new teammates, new everything. Put the uniform on, go out there, get the feel, get your cadence out there, work with your guys. But my concern is the offensive line. Like, can they actually protect for him? Like, who's going to be in front of him? If he's going to go out there and hand the ball off 3 times and come out of the game, is that really worth it? Like, risking, taking a big hit or whatever like that? Because I think as of this video, the Giants aren't playing their starters, dude. So you're playing its backup guys. Are these guys going to be out headhunting, trying to make a big statement because they want to get that big sack to make the team? I don't know, man. It makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. If they had their starting 5 in front of him, Dwayne Brown, Tomlinson, McGovern, all those guys, I'm cool with it. But right now, they're all hurt, dude. Like, who's going to be in front of them?
For sure. No, yeah, dude, I feel that. I mean, for me, it's kind of like, if I put myself in Rodgers' shoes, it's like, yeah, I want to get out there. I want to sling the football around, go up against, a different team. Finally, the joint practices are one thing, but it's like 11-on-11 drills, just a couple of drives. I mean, it's not like he's out there for 4 quarters against the Panthers in a joint practice setting. So I definitely kind of get where Rodgers is coming from here. But at the same time, it's like, how much, like what are the positives that we can pull away from this? Like, what, Rodgers goes 4 of 4 on one drive with a touchdown pass and looks great. And it's just like, awesome. What does that really do? It just kind of solidifies that he's still Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. So I'm with you. I definitely think it's risky. And God, I do not. Next week when we do our, next episode here, I don't want to be talking about a freaking Aaron Rodgers injury. So, but then on the other hand too, it's just like, worst case scenario, hey, look, if I'm Saleh, I'm thinking 1 drive, that's it. If it's 2 handoffs and an incompletion, I'm pulling them out. That's just my take.
No, I mean, I'm the same thing. I'm like, is that worth it? I'm like, it's like, I'm so excited, dude. This is probably the most excited I've been about a Jet team in a decade. And like that cynical, same old Jet fans at back here, it's fighting me and saying, what's going to happen? This is a Jet moment where he's going to get hurt or something like that. So you just worry. But obviously he goes in, 1 series, gets in, gets out, says, and that's fine. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm just nervous. I'm so nervous. I can't take it.
Yeah, no. And like another thing too, that's kind of like in the back of my head, it's like Rodgers knows how old he is. Like Rodgers knows the risks. So he's not going to make this decision whatever, I guess it's football. You can never really count on anything injury related to happen or to not happen here, but
it's not trend setting. I mean, like we've seen Josh Allen's played, Mahomes, like every other quarterback's playing. So it's not like, I think everybody's going back to, he didn't play the preseason in Green Bay, but he knew the Green Bay offense inside out and backwards. He knew his teammates. Like he knew everything, dude. He was basically plug and play, show up and just play. With the Jets, it's a little different. You've got to learn everything again. You got to get acclimated to a lot of things. So I could see why he'd want to do it. I completely understand it. It's just the risk reward thing, man. Is it worth it for 2 series? I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's done, so it's gonna happen. So what do we just got to sit back and try to enjoy it.
Yeah, no doubt. So you talked about the offensive line. Where do you, and obviously like a lot of moving parts, a lot of guys are, the position titles are still kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
We got Billy Turner, Max Mitchell flip-flopping back and forth. Becton left side, now he's on the right side. AVT potentially like right tackle. A lot of different things. What's kind of your outlook right now on the O-line?
Well, before I answer, I want to get your take on this though, because the way they're flip-flopping these guys around, to me, at first I understood to see where they best suited, but doing it up until the last game was kind of like, listen, man, at some point, put a guy at one spot and make him be the best he could be there. Like Max Mitchell's not a left tackle. We know that, right? He's barely a right tackle at this point. Keep flipping him back and forth. Is it almost like counterproductive? Like, what would you, even like Tippmann, dude? Tippmann played left guard, right guard, center. Did you agree with all that, like moving around?
So, like on one hand, I get like the positional versatility where it's just like, hey, it's preseason. Let's throw this guy over here, see what he can do. I mean, that's literally what we had to do with Vera Tucker last season in the season, right? It was just like we were down so many different offensive linemen. It's just like, man, we got to go plug AVT at left tackle and see how he does. It turns out he was a beast, which is great. And then we had Nate Herbig, behind AVT at right guard, so that it was just like a nice seamless transition, but. I'm with you. I think we've kind of reached the point of the offseason, the preseason, where it's just like, I want the starting five. And the Dwayne Brown thing is, kind of an issue or like a question mark in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, when exactly is he going to be back? I know we got some positive news today, like at least at the, time of this recording, Monday, August 21st, that he should be back at practice this week. But, coming back from the shoulder surgery, I believe it was a rotator cuff. He's up there in age. He's like, I feel like at this point singled out, like he is going to be the team starting left tackle. So there obviously pressure comes with that. Not only just pressure to perform, but pressure to get to the point where you can go out there and play consistently and not have any sort of issues. And I do feel like that will take some time, even though Brown is a vet. It's not like we're talking about a rookie here.
Yeah.
So it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's still something to make a note of, at least in my opinion. But no, I think for me, at least, I want to get these guys solidified positions. Like Billy Turner is somebody who, is one more preseason game or like one preseason game, 2 weeks of practice at left tackle really going to make him that much better, like long-term at left tackle. I would probably just say, okay, from an odds perspective, with the understanding that we want to get our best five out there, where do we feel like these guys realistically will be? Because at the end of the day, the Jets are making this decision. They have to make it soon. Let's just get 2 weeks of practice under our belts at one specific spot. So if it's Billy Turner at right tackle, we're rolling with Billy Turner at right tackle. We're not going to move him to LT unless there's some crazy injury. But for all five positions here. So that's just kind of my take on it. I know
it was frustrating, dude. It's frustrating. And then the problem is the injuries, like AVT and Lakin both getting hurt. You're like, come on, man. Like it's like that. Those are like the two guys you kind of have confidence in. Lakin, Pro Bowl potential, AVT, Pro Bowl potential. They're both out. It's like, all right. But at some point, you're like, all right, now, I mean, would you agree Mekhi Becton should be the right tackle? I think he should at least get a chance this week to be the starting right tackle, right?
Yes, I do, because it's not like Billy Turner or Max Mitchell have pulled away to a certain degree where it's just like, hey, you know what? These guys are balling in practice. They look really good. Rodgers is, built that trust with them. I don't feel like we've really reached that point with either player, Billy Turner or Max, on the right side. And it's like, hey, based off of what we saw against the Buccaneers, granted it was against backups and, I mean, really it was backups and third teamers, guys that might not even, make the practice squad for the Bucs. Even though that was the case, he still went out there and did his thing. Becton can't control who he's playing against. He can only control how he plays, and he was pass blocking really well, and he was run blocking really well. So I would definitely let him roll with the ones this week.
Yeah, so that, and hopefully, like the thing with Solid is every time he talks about injuries, he's lying to you because he doesn't know. Like he's like, oh, like this Dwayne Brown thing lingered on 3 weeks longer than we all thought it was going to linger on. It's
Carl Lawson too.
Carl Lawson
was supposed to be like 1 day, and it's been like a week and a half.
Yeah. So it's like now it's like you only have a couple weeks left. You want the final five done, put back to that right tackle, let them start and let these guys. Cause like the one thing is everybody's like, oh, well, they played together last year. It's a new offense, dude. It's a new offense, new line coach, new system, new quarterback. You can't just keep like everybody's excited. Everybody wants to, it's not that big of a deal. It is that big of a deal. Communication is important. Protecting Aaron Rodgers is just paramount, dude. So I don't know. Like I get a little nervous about it. I hate when you're going into the last couple of weeks of camp and you're still like this unsettled, and like we don't have like new injury update. You will hopefully Brown's back this week. Hopefully Lakin's back. ABT's back. Like get them all back, man, and let's roll and give Becton a chance. And then you feel like Connor McGovern's obviously gonna be the center. I think Tippmann's hurt now too, right? So I don't think he really had a chance to take the spot anyway. It's not gonna be Schweitzer. So I guess McGovern's the center, right? And that's the line is. It's just a matter of getting them all on the field now.
So ideally, what would your starting five look like? And then behind each, obviously not like a full depth chart breakdown, but like ideal starting five, and then like kind of the go-to backups at like specific spots.
Well, you figure it's gonna be Becton, AVT, McGovern, Lakin, and Dwayne Brown. And I think Billy Turner is gonna be their swing tackle. I think they like Tippmann to be like that versatile center guard. I think they like him at guard, to be honest with you. So that's a guy they have there. You have Schweitzer. I mean, I think they have more depth than they had in previous years. I'm not the biggest Billy Turner fan, but I think they have depth, and Max Mitchell's there. So like it's just, we'll see, man. Like, what do you think? Do you think there's any gonna be surprises?
No, so I'm kind of with you. I think it's going to be like going from left to right. Dwayne Brown, Lakin Tomlinson, McGovern, AVT, and then Becton at right tackle, with Billy Turner kind of being the swing guy. I like Billy Turner in like the mop-up type of, hey, I got to come in and, Becton went down with an injury. I got to fill in for 2-3 games at right tackle or whatever it is. Dwayne Brown still isn't 100%. I got to line up at left tackle to start the year off. That's, I can live with that. I'm cool with it. And you can also throw Billy Turner in at guard too. If there's a problem there, tackles are looking great, but AVT gets hurt, whatever the case is. I like Turner's versatility. My issue is just like, okay, if Billy Turner and Max Mitchell are like the go-to tackles, the unquestioned tackles, and we're thinking about a Super Bowl, it's like, let's just start comparing them, across the rest of the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at a team like the Bengals where they're like, okay, we brought in Lyle Collins last year. They already had Jonah Williams on the roster. And to them, it was just like, it's still not good enough. Lyle Collins got hurt. We're going to go out and give Orlando Brown a mega deal. We'll worry about T. Higgins later. Like they really wanted to invest in their offensive line. We're seeing the Bills, like with all the different draft picks and free agent acquisitions that team has made on the offensive line. Like it's working out.
Yeah. It's a premium, dude. It's a premium, dude. You got to protect your quarterback. And the other thing, too, is that we really haven't talked a lot about it, is that you also want to be able to run the football. You got to run the football, dude. You don't want Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball 55 times a game. It'd be fun to watch. You don't want him doing that. You got to be able to establish the run because, defenses are going to come after us. They're going to have to, man. They don't want, like, Aaron Rodgers with time. Stop the run, make the Jets one-dimensional, and make him throw it and see if you can get to him. So you want stout run blocking, too. So that's going to be, hopefully a strength for this team, too, with this new scheme.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, I know a lot of people bring up Aaron Jones, like in comparison to like Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. And we're going to talk about the running backs in a sec. But, I think a reason why Aaron Jones had so much success, of course, defenses feared the pass game, but it was like the Packers offensive line was just so damn good, like because that line was stout, they were solid. They didn't really have many question marks going into every single season and really every single week. It was just like solid, never an issue, never an Achilles heel, never let the team down. I felt like that was really one of the core reasons why Rodgers was upright and Aaron Jones was having the success, and that it really was like step one of the successful Nathaniel Hackett offense. So I think that's where it gets, at least for me, a bit concerning when it's like, okay, that's like step one is where the Jets right now seem to have the most question marks. But, from watching these solid press conferences and whatnot, it doesn't really sound like there's a lot of internal panic. And real quick, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Would you opt to go out and look for a free agent or somebody that gets waived? Maybe it's like a high-priced veteran. We get the cut downs next week, next Tuesday at 4. Or maybe even a trade or something like that. Where do you stand with maybe potentially making another offensive line move?
I would 1000% look into it, man. Especially Peters is out there because to me, the one thing is like Dwayne Brown is an X factor. We know he is tough as nails. He's physical. He's respected. He's all these things. He's still a little bit older and coming off an injury. And you don't want, like, if you have the ability to upgrade in any spot of your offensive line, I go for it. I mean, maybe that's just upgrading from Billy Turner. Like, if you can go, there's a guy out there, like this, to me, it's similar to like the Dalvin Cook thing. It's a luxury item. Hey, man, we have a good running back room. We can add a lot more talent to the room. Let's do it. Offensive line, I'm the same exact way, man. Any position you can do it, go for it, because this is your all-in year, right? This year, next year. Like, you don't penny pinch now. Like, you know what? No, you go after it. I take any chance possible, dude. I don't worry about feelings. I don't worry about egos. Just add talent, especially in the offensive line. Because, like, if you like, we like Billy Turner, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers likes him. Do we really feel comfortable with Max Mitchell? Probably not. Like, Tippmann's a rookie. You're kind of worried there. Like, if you can get like a legitimate quality veteran, why not? Right? What do you think?
Well, I think it's awesome that we actually have the cap flexibility to make a move. I think that's first and foremost. It's like, we're not in a position where we're pressed up against the cap and it's like, all right, fine. If we want to go, acquire one of these big time tackles or something, we have to go, figure out somebody else to trade to clear cap or cut a really good player. That's kind of a, you're in a position where you're just kind of running around in circles. The Jets aren't in that position. I think that's like a major plus. As far as like exact names, maybe one of those outside of Orlando Brown. I think right now is probably looking like Lyle Collins, maybe even James Hurst from New Orleans. That's like another guy I keep throwing out there. That pops into my mind, at least realistically speaking. But no, the cut down day should be crazy. Will the Jets go get like a franchise left tackle that day, or somebody that gets waived? I'm not sure. Again, just trying to be realistic here, and also factoring in that the cut down day is happening after the preseason game. So it's just like, man, we got like a week and a half to kind of get ready for the start of the regular season. So if a move needs to be made, ideally I would want that move to be made sooner rather than later. Am I hitting the panic button? No, but I guess it's kind of like the perfect transition into like our next topic here, which is the defenses that the Jets have to play out of the gate. Buffalo Bills, known for, that defensive line. They got Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Ed Oliver, Poona Ford, like all these like studs on defense. Monday Night Football, so much hype. It's, it's a big game, obviously, divisional game. And then after that, we got Dallas, Dan Quinn's defense with Micah Parsons. After that, we got Bill Belichick, Matt Judon, New England. Who else? Week 4 Chiefs. After that, Denver. After that, Philly. It's like, damn, man, like these defenses are stacked. And I'm not saying like, oh, I have no faith in the Jets offense to rack up points. Not at all. But it's like, if we are in a shootout, if we're in a close game, because let's face it, all these teams are good. Outside of the only question mark is Denver right now.
And New England too, man.
New England. And New England. But with New England, it's like, okay, I wouldn't be. See, personally, I do think the Patriots are better than the Broncos at this point in time.
I agree.
Just kind of looking at everything and understanding how last season went, and just looking at offseason moves and acquisitions. But no, I mean, so the defenses are great. Most of the teams are really good. In the event that it's a close game, whatever it may be, 27-30, 27-27, whatever, 31-31. I don't want the Jets coming up short because of the offensive line. In previous years, I've kind of felt that way a little bit about special teams, like missing an extra point,
100%.
Shanking a punt. The other offense is starting their field position on like the 45. But this season, it's kind of like offensive line. That's where I want the offensive line to be solid and stout, not, again, we're weeks away from the start of the season, so there's time here. Even if the Jets don't make a move, like there's time to kind of get right and figure out the 5 and all that. But how do you feel about the teams that the Jets have to play against to start out? Really, the defense and the D lines.
It's tough. And the question I have for you is like, what's a fair learning curve? What's a fair time period to say, okay, listen, this is a whole new offense with a new quarterback. Like, what's their wiggle room to say, okay, we're gonna have a week or two just to get used to each other, just to get in the flow of the offense. You figure it's going to be fair to run like their offense probably take 3 or 4 weeks, right? To get in like to full speed, like everybody on the same page, kind of functioning together. So in the meantime, it's like, how do you offset that? Is it going to be a very vanilla offense, dink and dunk, run the football a lot, do it like that, and try to make the running game your strength until everybody's on the same page? Like, that's because if you're the Bills, Monday Night Football, dude, is going to be chaos. And they're going to pin their ears back and they're going to get after it. They're going to be like, listen, we're going to be, can the Jets match the physicality? In years past, they haven't been a really physical offensive line. Mekhi Becton can be, AVT can be, but like they get pushed around sometimes, which used to piss me off. This year, they have to have a different mindset on that line. They've got to be nasty. They got to be physical. I like the new line coach kind of brings that mindset to them. And that's, I think, is going to be probably the biggest test for them is, all right, can you match the energy that's going to be coming at you when you don't know everything, when your line calls aren't all the same? Can you like pick each other up in the interim? Because like you said, Micah Parsons, Von Miller, I mean, there's names you're like, geez, like this could be a nightmare. So it's going to be interesting. I'm interested, and there's a question I have for you is, do you believe in the fullback, like having Nick Bawden back there and maybe doing more jumbo stuff with the tight ends? Because they have 3 really good tight ends they can use. Maybe have Rucker as a hybrid or whatever, like do different things to maybe help with the blocking too, to kind of get this offensive line some time.
Yeah, there's always like ways to, wall off kind of defenders. You could ship guys, get, running backs blocking right in shotgun formation, all these different things. Quick passing, there's like, I feel it almost feels like the list is endless with the amount of stuff that you can do to kind of help defensive lines or defensive line pressure. I think my question or my concern comes from, we can't do that every single time. Yep. We can't block so it really comes down to one-on-one matchups. Yes. That's my thing, where it's just like, if you put yourself, like, honestly, like take the Jet hat off for a second and you're like, okay, if you're Sean McDermott or you're on that Bill staff, you're Dan Quinn, you're on the Dallas Cowboys staff, or Bill Belichick, you're seeing Aaron Rodgers kind of talk about the tackle position. Like, hey, yeah, we're okay on the inside. The pass pro and tackle might be a little worrisome, or, I forget the exact quote, but he basically kind of singled those guys out and said, it's not set in stone. And luckily we do have Dwayne Brown coming back. Everybody saw the Hard Knocks speech. Everybody's looking at these joint practices saying that Carolina, was looking great against the Jets offensive line. And so was Tampa, like the first team. It's like, if you're McDermott and you're looking at at your roster, again, Miller, Floyd, Oliver, Russo, like, you're like, okay, this is where we need to attack New York.
Especially Becton, dude. Especially Becton, who's going to be a first-time right tackle, right? So you're going to be like, all right, we just put him there this week, which is only a couple of weeks to figure it out. They're going to test every aspect of him. Okay, what can you or can you not handle? And how do the Jets handle, like, when if he struggles or if he gets overwhelmed, how do the Jets pivot? What do they do then? Like, that's like, Sean McDermott's he's got to be smiling with all like the uncertainty right now. He's like, all right, I'm going to attack each and every one of them and see how they can handle this.
Yeah, because, and like, as much as it sucks to say it, like, games are won and lost in the trenches.
100%.
You can have the best quarterback out there, the best running back, whatever.
Yep.
If these guys are running into a wall, if the defensive line is just breaking up, wrecking game plans, getting in the backfield, no problem, or even just the edge rushers are, ripping right by the tackles and they're losing one-on-one matchups, that's where I'm going to have a big issue. But of course, again, we still have so much time, and I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. Like, another week, maybe the next time we record this show, it'll be a little different. Maybe I'll be totally happy, totally satisfied. Maybe a move's made in the meantime. But no, I'm with you. I'm personally at the point where it's just like, I want to see the starting 5, whether an outside move is made or not.
I think
I want to get this line just rock solid across the board.
I think there's 2 other advantages, though, that I have a lot more faith in Hackett than I did in Mike LaFleur. Hackett, in terms of making adjustments, in-game adjustments, figuring out, okay, listen, I got to modify this, because he's been there, done that. He's seen it. He's been in the NFL a gazillion years. He's seen it all too. And I think Aaron Rodgers too, is a coach on the field. Like, listen, this is what's going on. We've got to fix this. We can't do this. So, like, instead of worried about like a very inexperienced offensive staff, which they had last year, you have a lot of veteran, wily guys that have seen it all. I'm like, all right, we know how to handle this now. We've got to modify this, change our attack, because we're losing out on the right side or whatever else. So I have a little more confidence in just having that staff and having Aaron Rodgers back there to help maybe fix some of the early issues we have. But we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. I just hope they come out just ridiculously physical and nasty, because the Jets are a team that everybody's going to love to hate. Teams want to beat the Jets this year badly because they're everybody's darling. Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. We're on Hard Knocks. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. Like, everywhere you go, everybody's talking Jets. So that's going to fuel every team to want to beat the Jets and beat them badly. Like smack them around, be like, you know what? There you go. You're going to get everybody's best effort no matter what, but it's been another level, man. You know what I mean? Like they want to beat the Jets this year badly. So you got to match that intensity every week in every play.
No, that was a really, really good point with Aaron Rodgers kind of just being the veteran who, is not naive, and like he's not naive to the fact that say, oh, such and such is struggling. I gotta say something. I gotta make some sort of adjustment, as opposed to a Mike White or Zach Wilson, somebody who just doesn't really have like that much NFL experience.
Yep, exactly.
And to go along with the offensive coaching side of it with Todd Downing and Keith Carter, where are these guys coming from? Tennessee. That offense is just it was like the running game, right? You think of the Titans, you think of Derrick Henry getting like a million handoffs a game, just physical, nasty. Like I want the offensive lineman to kind of hear all this noise, hear everybody kind of talking about him. Oh, Achilles heel this, they're going to be the weak spot, and hit that Bills game thinking like, no, we're going to be the strength of this team, and we're going to show everybody on primetime football that we can go toe to toe with one of the best D lines in football and just wreck them.
Yeah, no, that's like, this is like easy bulletin board material, man, where everybody's questioning you. I mean, look at every Jets YouTuber. We're all saying the same thing. These tackles suck. They're not good. Everybody's concerned. So now it's like them against the world. Like, and the other thing too is like, you got to figure to a man when you're sitting on your offensive line and Aaron Rodgers is behind you. Like, dude, I don't want to get him hurt. Like, he's our chance to win a Super Bowl. We don't want him getting beat up. Like, I got to take Mike to another level. Like that internal pride, kicks in as well. So it's gonna be fascinating, dude. Like it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, one thing too that you kind of talked about before was the whole Dalvin Cook signing. I think that does point, especially given the contract. What was it, 1 year, like worth up to 8.6, but like 7 million of that is like salary. I mean, that's a pretty sizable deal. Comparing it to other running back deals. I don't think that move is made unless there's going to be a big reliance on the running game. And I think that just like reading between the lines, I don't see Joe Douglas, this offense having a lot of money to spend and taking a sizable chunk of that and saying, okay, we're going to go invest it in a position where we're already pretty good. Let's go get Dalvin Cook and, add him to this team. Obviously, we are better with Dalvin Cook, but a lot of people are saying, hey, running back is not really the biggest need of this football team. But like Joe Douglas is not stupid, like this team, they know the pressure. They know what comes with going out and trading for, a Hall of Fame quarterback here in A-Rod. I think there is somewhat of a method to the madness, if you will. This move is indicating, hey, we are going to feed the running backs a lot, and we're going to need the talent. We're going to need the depth. So you know what? Here's the extra cash, Dalvin Cook. We're going to bring you in as opposed to a Fournette, as opposed to a Zeke Elliott.
No, I love the move, dude. I think you can never have enough talent, and it allows you some flexibility with Breece Hall too. You can bring back Breece Hall slowly, but Dalvin Cook is a good catch the ball out of backfield, a home run hitter. It's just, you want as many weapons as possible. I think, especially if teams start stacking the box, you can, throw screen passes to Dalvin Cook, whatever you want to do. You can use all different ways of doing it. You can have Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook in the backfield at the same time. Like, at the defensive coordinator, you're like, all right, that's just speed, dude. Like, you don't know what you want to do there. Like, you have so many new options with it. And it's not disrespecting Michael Carter. I like Michael Carter. I like Bam Knight, all these guys, but it's an upgrade, dude. It's a significant upgrade. Plus the NFL experience. Plus he's, according to everybody you hear from, he's a very competitive, football is his life. He loves the game of football. He's a student of the game. He wants to always find ways to be better. That's why he wanted to work at Aaron Rodgers, so he can become a better player. So I think it's a dynamic offense, man. The thing with the running backs is there's going to be an odd man out. Like, somebody's going to go. I mean, unfortunately, Izzy's hurt right now. And I'll be honest, I was a Bam Knight fan. Like, I like Bam Knight a lot. He's been having a really good camp. But I thought that last game against the Bucs, I think it almost feels like he lost confidence. And I think he senses he's probably not going to make the team. Maybe I'm just off the rails a little bit. He fumbled 2 weeks in a row, but he didn't have that same, I think he just knows he's the odd man out. Do you think I'm crazy?
No, I mean, he had the drop. He had the fumble too in the game, I believe, in the early parts. And another thing too, obviously Breece and Dalvin are, those are the two guys. But And then Izzy was just drafted. Like, is
Yep.
Douglas really just going to go cut a draft pick that he just made a couple months ago? Like,
Yep.
no, probably not. And so it's just like, okay, Michael Carter and Bam Knight, a competition between those guys.
Yep.
Carter didn't even dress for the game. He wasn't even out there, which is like, again, like trying to read between the lines here. What does that say about, how the offensive staff views Carter? It's just like, yeah, we're going to keep you on ice for the, second or third preseason game here because we feel good enough about you and where you are roster spot wise, injury wise, like all that stuff. So it's really up to Abdekonda, Bam Knight. Maybe we see somebody emerges between one of those guys. And unfortunately, and it sucks because I'm a big fan of Bam Knight.
Yeah, me too, dude.
So
That's like,
I was like upset watching him like drop that pass and fumble that ball. I'm like, damn, man, like this sucks.
Yeah, you could have the best camp in the world, but when the bright lights come on, you're on the football field in the game action, you got to do the same thing. And he hasn't done it 2 weeks in a row. It's like, damn, dude, like you had the chance, like the opportunity's there for him. And I was literally rooting for him. I'm like, last week I was disappointed, and this week I'm like, yeah, that's it, man. I'm like, you can't justify it, especially turnovers. You could see Salah turns like purple when he sees like the fumble, and you saw Joe Douglas is all annoyed. Like, yeah, I think the writing's on the wall for him, unfortunately. But then it's like, how many running backs do you keep though? Because if you say you have Carter, Cook, and Hall, Izzy as of now is hurt, and then if you have the fullback, do you like? Are you okay with that? Keeping what, 3 running backs and a fullback, or do you go?
I would. Oh man, I think at this point you kind of have to keep 4. I mean, what? Because what are you gonna do? Like waive Abdekonda and like risk
unless he gets an injury, injury reserve.
Yeah. And it's like Michael Carter to me is too good to get released. I mean,
would you trade him?
Depending on the offer, but probably not.
No,
like if and I get it because Dalvin Cook kind of came in late and all these different things. Yeah. But given where like Breece Hall's at with his injury, understanding that Dalvin Cook is here, I definitely want to keep Michael Carter around. Yeah. I know he's probably not going to see that much playing time, but at the end of the day, injuries happen, and we're talking about running back. Yep. And we're talking about coaches coming over from Tennessee wanting to maybe rely on running backs a little bit more, investing money in the position, investing draft picks in the position. In other words, like we're going to be using the running backs, and we're probably going to be using that or them a lot. Yep. So in the event that somebody goes down, I don't want to be like, oh man, wish we had Michael Carter instead of this conditional 6th round pick. This 5th round pick in 2025. True. Michael Carter's, and I'm not saying Carter's like this, 1,200 yard back or anything, but it's just like, okay, if something does happen to Dalvin Cook, if something does happen to Breece, it's like, who realistically speaking is the next best option? Yep. Michael Carter,
Yep.
No, despite the Jonathan Taylor rumors today.
Yeah, which are ridiculous. No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think you have 3 very good backs. If you want to keep 4, like if Izzy's conveniently hurt and goes on IR, that kind of helps you out a little bit. Because then with the fullback, you got to figure, is that kind of like a fullback kind of / tight end kind of guy? Like I think they're keeping Bawden, dude. I really do. I love what you saw in the last game where he was just mauling people. So it's like a matter of like the whole roster kind of managing you got to do, which we'll cover next week, I'm sure. But it's like it's gonna be interesting to see like what position groups they value a lot and how many spots they allocate to each position, because you can justify 4, you can justify 3. Like you got to figure out how you want to do these guys.
Yeah, and like another thing too, like in the case of Bawden, I don't really feel like there's anybody else that can beat him at what he's doing. Like there's not a better fullback on the roster. There's not real. I mean, I've seen the argument for like a 4th tight end, like Zach Kuntz, the 7th or the
he's a project, bro. Dude,
yeah, yeah, like you like the potential there and stuff, but at the same time, it's just like understanding that we're winning now, understanding what Bawden can maybe do directly week 1 goal line package, I4, like all these different things that you can do with the fullback. I know it's not the most popular thing to do and talk about right now, like fullbacks in 2023, but he does give the offense that added layer, even if that layer is relatively small.
Yeah, and especially if your offensive line struggles a little bit, it's like a little insurance policy. And I think it's just goal line. If you want to grind out games like you saw the Jets do last year, the 4th quarter running the ball, just wearing out the opposing defense. Nothing better than having like a big tight end or a big fullback just whooping your ass, down the field. It helps, man. It
Yeah,
closes out games that way.
yeah, I feel like so far we've had our ups and downs in preseason. Obviously, the Panther game was sick, like totally awesome, just completely manhandling the Panthers, just getting after Bryce Young, all these different things. Where do you kind of stand overall on preseason? Like, are you feeling like it's gone kind of how you've expected? Were you expecting more? Is it exceeding your expectations given, the roster? Where do you kind of stand with that?
Well, the starters really haven't played, so you kind of rely on like the joint practices. I mean, I just love the talent they have. I love the energy, but the one thing that it's just, I mean, I don't know. Like you see, like the Jets. I think overall, you walk away saying they have a lot more depth than they've ever had before. Like they like this year when with the cuts we talk about next week, we're gonna be angry about some cuts. Like we're gonna be pissed off because there's fan favorites and guys that we think that should be here, but there's so much talent that you can't keep everybody. So I think the overall depth is much improved at a lot of positions, a lot of young talent. I think the team's very united. Aaron Rodgers, his leadership is bringing a whole nother chemistry within the team, which is great. But there's some questions, man. Like the defense, I think you feel comfortable about because they're year 3 of this. They've all played together. They played together last year at a very high level. Another year to that, Sauce Gardner's gonna be better. So the defense you have a lot of confidence in, especially with Will McDonald now. But the offense is just like, all right, we haven't seen a lot. I think the one question everybody has is Zach Wilson going to be the backup quarterback. I think that's who the guy's going to be because they didn't sign Bridgewater or anybody. So I think it's just we're cautiously optimistic. I think is that a good way to handle it because we haven't seen the offense in action. We haven't really seen them.
See, I feel like we have seen some like Lazard's been out there, McGovern,
Sure.
like I guess Becton right now is like a backup, but even like Max Mitchell, Billy Turner, will one of those guys be a starter like at right tackle? So along with like I don't know, I just feel like overall the offense. I see what you're saying for sure. And I just feel like we haven't seen like the sample size isn't that big, and I get whatever, it's preseason, it's not really supposed to be like that big, but at the same time, like with all the newness to the team, whether it's system, whether it's overall coaches, whether it's players, blockers, pass catchers, new quarterback, of course we can, understand why he's not playing, but it is kind of like, no, I see what you're saying. I completely get it. Defense, I feel totally fine about. Just there's been times where it's just like, man, our backups look better than other teams' starters. Which is wild.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like the one thing I've learned because I used to go to training camp every year. I used to have press passes.
I was going to ask you real quick. Have you been to any?
I haven't gotten any this year, dude. Because my work schedule sucked. But the one thing that I learned is that I would go every year, dude. All the practices, and I'd be like, oh, I know exactly what's going on. And the minute the game started, the complete opposite would happen. It's like everything just changes, dude. So like, and the one thing that I'm really curious about though is a lot of reports are saying the same thing is the drop passes, and that's everybody. That's Lazard. It's Cobb. Everybody's dropping passes more than they should be. And now I'm just wondering if that's a dog days of summer. Everybody's getting tired. We lose a little, because that's something that you don't want to follow during the regular season, obviously. So that's the one thing you keep an eye on. But I'm telling you, dude. You go by all these training camp reports, and it's like you think you know something, and it's never right. It's like it always the complete opposite happens because guys take the game to another level. They're more motivated. It's just the light goes on, so it's different.
Yeah, and man, like there's nothing more frustrating than a drop, like especially a wide open drop, like 3rd and 6, and your guy's open. He just drops the ball, or he hears footsteps coming, and it's incomplete. Like Corey Davis has had a hard time with the drops in his Jet career. Alan Lazard had a drop problem in Green Bay.
Hardman does too.
Who?
Hardman. Cole Hardman too has some issues.
Really? Okay. So for me, it was just kind of like, well, like with McCole, it's just like I'm not really thinking that he's going to be getting all these looks and attempts. Like the offense won't like. Obviously, it's Will. To me, it's just kind of like we have multiple guys in front of Hardman that are like. The first or second or even third options ahead of him, like when we have like a broad outlook of the offense. But with that said, Hardman should be the number one in a subset of packages because there's a skill set there that like you love. Like he is explosive with the football. It's just all about getting him the football. I didn't really know he had like that big of a drop problem. When or back in KC, or is this just something that's like
more specific to like just in this camp? We noticed it more and more that was coming out. Like just everybody's very inconsistent. It's like all right, He's got blazing speed, which is awesome, and getting the ball in space. Just make sure he catches it.
Yeah, man. I don't know because I wonder if like these reports are even kind of because I've seen a little bit of them, but like how much like are the tight ends involved with it? Are the running backs out of the backfield involved with it? Because if it's like a collective effort, like literally everybody on the team, including like Garrett Wilson and stuff, like all these different guys are dropping the ball, then it's just like okay, maybe there's just like like it's the dog days of summer, or there's another problem going on. Just a lack. I don't want to say lack of enthusiasm, but just an overall just being tired of going against your own guys over and over and over again. Because the Jets play defense like a specific way. It's not like the regular season where there's not like the simulated looks of the offense that you're going to be playing against. So hopefully that's all it is. It's just, ready to go for the regular season. But nah, I mean, drops are weird. It's just like no excuses with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, overall, just the whole preseason vibe, though, it's just like you have a lot of confidence where you have this very good defense that's going to challenge this offense. Then you have this all-world quarterback that's going to challenge this very good defense, where you saw the Garrett Wilson versus Sauce Gardner. You see all these great battles, which it's inspiring, man. Like, we never really had this much talent. You just always one side, like defense is really good, but the offense always sucked. Like now they can go back and forth and make each other better. So it's encouraging. You see, like I think they're there. They're in the mix to be, a contender for Super Bowl. But now you just like you had the practice, you had the preseason. Now you just got to actually make it come to fruition during the regular season, starting week 1. Like just go out there and you got to step it up because the schedule is crazy.
100%, man. Yeah, no, 100%. Any more points that you wanted to add or storylines or questions?
No, I mean right now we talked about it before. Like the storyline right now is Aaron Rodgers playing on Saturday and the offensive line. That's what everybody's just like. Get out of the game healthy and let's get to Buffalo and the return of Dwayne Brown, which hopefully we find out. I guess tomorrow. I guess Salah meets the media. Hopefully he's back this week. That's the biggest storyline, because everything else we're smooth sailing at this point, right?
Yeah, that I've been talking to a lot of buddies that are Jets fans and stuff, and it's just like everybody's saying the same thing. Like wide receiver, I feel great. Running back, I feel great. Tight end, I feel great. All the corner, linebacker, like all these different positions. It's just like like awesome, 2 thumbs up. But then it's just like O-line. That's where everybody like has their concerns. Like, man, we gotta put this guy in the starting lineup. We gotta move this guy's position. All these different things. So it's gonna be interesting. This week's gonna be crazy. And for everybody watching, everybody listening, we're gonna be back next week, Tuesday, which is cool. I'm looking forward to it.
No, I can't wait. That's the cuts too, man. So we have all the cuts going to be happening. We can do our predictions and seeing, because this is going to. I'm telling you, dude, people are going to be angry. We're going to be arguing, me and you. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't make cut. That's crazy. Yeah. Like, we'll be arguing for sure.
I know. Is there any, real quick before we end it? Is there any surprise guy or I guess one guy specifically that you're rooting for to make the team?
Tanzel Smart. I have like
he's been playing well in preseason.
The defensive line is so deep, man, but that dude works his ass off, man. It's just like, I know Salah loves Solomon Thomas and all the other guys, but that's just a guy I'm rooting for personally. Like, I don't know him. Like, I'm not biased. I just think he deserves to make the team. But he'll probably make the practice squad, but I think it'd be really cool if he did make it, though. What about you?
I know it's not popular. Like, I know he's not, like a homegrown. No, I'm going to say Jimmy Moreland, man, at corner.
Oh, there you go.
Like, what he's been able to do in preseason, he has like 15 total tackles. He has an INT, multiple passes defended against. I think Moreland, for that last cornerback spot, I think if it's like a true competition, obviously, clearly not gonna, unseat Reed and Sauce and these guys, but like as the last cornerback option to make the team, I think Moreland has done enough in preseason compared to, like Bryce Hall and the other guys. So I'm gonna be pulling for him for sure.
That's a great point, dude. That's a really good point. I think Bryce Hall's gone. So I think he can make it. He sticks out, man. He's always on the field. He's always around the ball. Like that's a really good point.
Yeah, and he has NFL experience too with Washington. But again, I know it's not popular. It's not like the Jets drafted him. It's not like, we brought him in and like we know like the full backstory and he's kind of just fighting for a roster spot. But again, if it's like a true competition to kind of round out the 53, if we're just looking at the preseason games, and granted, I'm not at these training camp practices, like recording every single play, watching the DB drills, but no, based off of what we've seen in the preseason, to me, Moreland has stepped up every single week.
No, I completely agree, man. And you figure Eccles is suspended too, week 1, so he's going to be out. So he's going to get a chance. I think he'd probably make it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it'll be crazy. But thanks so much for hopping on, dude. I'm pumped to do it next week too.
Bro, weekly, man. You're gonna be dealing with me weekly. Can you handle this? I'm gonna drive you crazy.
Nah, bro, I'm looking forward to it. I've never really done like a consistent, podcast. I've been really looking to do one for a long time, so I'm pumped that we started it up.
No, it's awesome. I'm telling you, we'll be start arguing. The cuts will be the first one we start getting like, oh, this is ridiculous. It'll be fun.
No, dude, it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate everybody. Of course, Tyson's links are going to be listed down below in the description box, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. Yeah, thanks so much. And as always, go Jets.